mean? Just raising the microphone so I can talk to it. That's not really true. We have a feature here, actually a dual feature. Jack and Sangye. And I have they gave me a little thing to read, which I will read excerpts from. After Jack turned 115, so Jack actually has 15 books of poetry. I didn't know that. I didn't know it was that many. Jesus Christ Almighty!
Yeah, another one coming.
And he has another one coming in. 5 books of criticism, books of stories, and a 3,000-page chrono encyclopedia, Visions and Affiliations, California Poetry, 1940 to 2005. A severely weighty, it's a 2-volume set, a weighty tome.
You need a doorstop.
Yeah, a very good doorstop. It's a what do they call it? A coffee table book.
We've got a strong coffee.
You can't have a strong coffee. And the graphics are wonderful. He does have an intellectual capacity and interest in pursuit that to me are like, okay, he's way up here, and I'll just kind of be in the kindergarten class on that. Sangye is a lifelong poetry enthusiast and Jack Foley's new partner in both life and performance. You're going to do some things together up here, right?
Absolutely.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
Almost everything.
Almost everything, but you'll be working together here. She's helped edit manuscripts written by her mother, poet Julia Rogers, and lived with her mother and stepfather, poet David Meltzer, during the final years of his life. She's a student of Buddhism and a volunteer for the TLC, Transitional Life Care, a Buddhist end-of-life nonprofit education program located in Alameda. Now, a friend of mine, actually, who passed away several years back, worked with them, because that name just rings a bell. So what you're about to hear is a duet, is a pair of voices, a great set of hearts, people who know what poetry is. I mean, they steep themselves in it, they think about it, they write, they read, they go to events, they create events. He interviews people on the radio, and she's with him all the way, in every way that's significantly noticeable, and even the ones that are not significantly noticeable. So, give them a great round of applause. We're going to have a great time up here. Our features for the evening. And I got to make this perfect for you. So. Jack and Sangye.
On my right.
Okay, so then I'll put this. Let me put this like right here. Okay. We just check to see if this is good. Is that? Oh, that's a little too high. Like that, right? Okay, and then we'll frame you in. Oh, you are pretty good already. La, la, la. There we go.
Let's get the pretty one over here.
All
Okay,
right.
thank
And
you.
then I'll give you like that'll be like a 5 or something, so you have some idea. Do you want to do that? A 5-minute warning or something? Or
Don't need, we timed them. I'm a radio guy.
Oh, okay.
I time these things.
All right.
Okay, and thank you, Dan. Thank you for the nice introduction. We may bring you at our house sometime and have you stay a week and say it every day.
All right.
We can do that. All right. Unlike Chris Young, who turned 80 recently, I'm about to turn 79 in 2 days, August 9th.
Well, happy birthday!
Thank you. And I'm going to begin with the birthday poem. It's called, George M. Cohan wrote a play, a once famous play. It's a movie too, several of them, called 7 Keys to Baldpate. I mean, there's a line early in the play, 7 keys to Baldpate. This is the only key to Baldpate. We know that's not true from the title. Anyway, these are 7 keys to Jack Foley at 79.
1,
He is Irish.
2,
He is Italian.
3,
He is Irish and Italian.
4,
He is Irish and Italian and writes poetry.
5,
He is Irish and Italian and writes poetry and talks a lot.
6,
He is Irish and Italian and a Californian and writes poetry and talks a lot.
7,
He is Irish and Italian and a Californian and writes poetry and talks a lot and has wonderful friends who make him pictures and write him poems and wish him a happy birthday as he enters the hallowed halls of antiquity with a leap and a bound and a tendency towards transgressive behavior.
And what continent will you be in, Mr. Foley?
I am likely to be in incontinent. 79 years flew, still flying. Nice. Is the mic picking us up, guys?
It's good. It's good.
It's good?
You should just, when you speak, just get us really close, because that.
Okay.
I'll try.
She has to snuggle against me, I know. We speak of film noir, but we don't necessarily realize how widespread the phenomenon of noir, means black, was. Not only in film, but in dozens of popular radio shows, books, even comic books. I was born in 1940. Noir was the primary worldview of my childhood. This next piece is an evocation of noir, of the films and the radio shows especially, and it's called Noir. There is always the woman, always the mystery, blonde, unbelievably dressed, her clothes both covered and uncovered, her nervous, elegant, experienced body. Why did you come here? Whiskey. Listen for the warning drums. A woman enters your eyes the way a tear finds its way to them. Hold tight to the deep surprise, wonder.
To be queen in a kingdom made of dirt. You've sampled men before. Your heart's been opened, hurt.
What do you want?
I'm looking for my sister.
How old is she?
Young, 23.
When did you last see her?
A year ago at her wedding.
Where's her husband?
Gone, perhaps with her, perhaps not.
You haven't heard from her?
Not a word.
Why did you come to me?
I was told you would ask no questions if I gave you money.
In the darkness of the city, I work with whatever I can get.
The darkness hides things I don't ask about. So much of life is regret.
So much of life is effort to keep one step ahead of the funeral pyre. 4/5 of life is tedium. 1/5 is fire.
1/5 is fire. Daddy, I want you to meet Sam Arguelles. He's a private detective.
They lived in a mansion straight out of the 1920s. Erich von Stroheim didn't rise from his chair. He seemed frail and old, nasty. A thin arm reached out to me. Yes, I am, sir. I understand you want me to find your daughter. Ah! I want her to get rid of the fool she wed. I want her back in her own sweet bed. I'm a rich old man. I made money. I made money, and money made me. I have 2 daughters. One's in my clutches. One's in my clutches, but the other ran free. The one in my clutches, she will lure you, take you to her bed till she can't endure you. Then she'll come back, ashamed and sorry, telling her daddy he needn't worry. She'll fool you with love, but your brows will lower, 'cause love's not her game. Her game is power. She's daddy's daughter, my own true love. She changes like water, like the stars above.
She's Daddy's daughter, your own true love. She changes like water, like the stars above.
But she's beautiful, and I'm in her power. I believe in love, and our love might flower.
He's the man for me. I'm in his power. I believe in love, and love might flower.
She's beautiful, and I'm in her power. I believe in love, and our love might flower. She's Daddy's daughter, my own true love. She changes like water, like the stars above. Do you still have your gun, sweetheart?
Yes?
Good. Maybe you'll shoot me sometime. I left before anyone shot anyone. Their words stayed with me as I looked for the lost daughter. Lost. The streets were busy and crowded. Bright sunshine in desolate LA. Was anybody happy here or anywhere? I lived in paradise. Paradise lost. Daughter lost. Me, the finder, more lost than anyone. Tell me your story. Tell me the history of those blue eyes. Call me Johnny Dollar. I found her at a Travelodge on Pico Boulevard in Santa Monica. It wasn't hard. She registered in her husband's name, but he wasn't there. He was long gone. Where's your lover, baby? Is he up in the air? I look all around and he isn't there. Might be in Vegas, might be in Malibu, might be anywhere, except with you.
I'm all alone in a real tough town. People up, people down. Can't trust people, though you want them to. Might be in Vegas or in Malibu. He drew all our money out of the bank. Told me he'd be back in an hour. He wasn't.
She was thinner than her sister, wore glasses. The sister was the pretty one. She was the one who read books. They didn't prepare her.
Did Daddy hire you?
No, your sister. Your father wants you back.
Not till he's dead. I'll go back then.
I have to tell him I found you. And where?
Give me 24 hours.
I made my report, doing as she asked. The old man died about a year later, his missing daughter still missing. Died of natural causes. As for the beautiful daughter, we tried, but it never worked out. She had too many problems. Daddy was her true love. I miss her as I write this. I think the old man killed her heart. The other daughter was maimed, but managed to get away. My own heart is missing in this equation. It still beats, I'll give you that. One more loss in this city of lost angels. I'll tell you, it doesn't matter. Are you interested in this story? One more casualty on the boulevard of broken dreams. Oh, we put it that way. There are other ways to put it. So we beat on. Boats against the current, borne back ceaselessly into the past. I'm on the case.
I've got a case.
I'm a case.
What causes cases?
Because we care. Because we care. Noir means the labyrinth of the city.
Means the labyrinth of the city.
New York, San Francisco, Vienna, Berlin, L.A.
New York, San Francisco, Vienna, Berlin, L.A.
Noir
Noir
is post-war.
is post-war.
During the war,
During the war,
you had orders.
you had orders.
However insane.
However insane.
You had a
You
structure
had a structure
called command.
called command.
Now you are alone
Now you are alone.
with no one to give
with
you
no one to give you
orders.
orders.
But the dangers of war
But the dangers of war
are still with you
are still with you.
during the war.
During the war,
You had a sergeant
you had a sergeant
and a discernible enemy
and a discernible enemy
you could hate.
you could hate.
Now it is unclear
Now it is unclear
who your friend is.
who your friend is.
Who is your enemy?
Who is your enemy?
Now the war
Now the war
seems to be within.
seems to be within.
You don't
You
know.
don't know.
Betrayal is everywhere.
Betrayal is everywhere.
You associate
You associate
with the rich,
with the rich,
but you understand
but you understand
their corruption.
their corruption.
And you both want
And you both want
and don't want
and don't want
money.
money.
You carry a gun
You carry a gun
for protection,
for protection,
as you carried a weapon
as you carried a weapon
during the war.
during the war.
Noir
Noir
is that woman
is that woman
whose allure you can't resist,
whose allure you can't resist,
but should
but
resist,
should resist,
because she too
because she too
may be your enemy.
may be your enemy.
You may have to put her in
You
jail.
may have to put her in jail.
Desire
Desire
flares up constantly,
flares up constantly,
but desire
but desire
may be
may
deadly.
be deadly.
This is noir.
This is noir.
Darkness everywhere.
Darkness everywhere.
Guns pointing at you
Guns pointing at you
from the shadows.
from the shadows.
You know they're there,
You know they're there,
but you don't know who they are
but you don't know who they are
or
or
why
why
they wish to kill
they
you.
wish to kill you.
Capitalism
Capitalism
has invented noir.
has invented noir.
Capitalism
Capitalism
is at the heart of its
is
darkness.
at the heart of its darkness.
Competition is war. You spend your money
You spend your
willing, like you,
and is willing, like you,
to use it.
To use it.
Wow. This one's a solo. It's called for Sangye, July 10th, 2019. A shop in Mill Valley. Claret rings to speak heart's truth. Today I drew blood from the finger on which as if in affirmation. And loved a film I doubt that anyone else your age has ever seen. The Phantom President, 1932, with Cohan, Jimmy Durante, and Claudette Colbert, the shortest leading lady the studio could find to match Cohan. She 5'5", he 5'4". And Sidney Toler, the second non-Asian to play Charlie Chan. I'm not sure you've ever seen a Charlie Chan movie. What delight we take in watching films together. Your mind rings in mine as we send notes to one another across distances that are not really distances because we stay in touch. There's a ring for my finger and a ring for yours as you reach the age that Dante Alighieri called the middle of the journey of our life. And I watch the wonderful light in your eyes grow brighter. Nel mezzo del camino di nostra vita. After Borges's The Art of Poetry, looking at a woman's face, we sometimes see the color of dreams. The face of a woman we see only in dreams, which is also our own face, gazing back at us as in a mirror, and the sound of a voice echoing in our consciousness, echoing from the face of the river we call sleep that protects us from the world, as a poem does, as the world is in a poem, vast, echoing, inhabiting the poem, a sweet, green, ululating world. Borges's beautiful, elegant lines bring us into the pastiche of his thought and into the images that haunt his thought as a river makes its way in wayward, wandering lines. And my love, like a river, is a wonder that draws me deeply to a woman named Sangye, and to my knowledge that Buddha is the meaning of Sangye, and to poetry, to the vast river that time is, to Borges, and to wonder. We're going to close with a duet. We're going to end with vaudeville because I've lived with the shadow of vaudeville all my life. My father was a tap dancer. I'm going to continue with a pair of performers, Ed Gallagher and Al Sheen, Gallagher and Sheen. They were vaudevillians and most famous for a song, Are You Positive, Mr. Gallagher? Absolutely, Mr. Sheen. I've adapted the song for my own purposes, and I've asked Sangye to perform it with me. It's called Mr. Gallagher, Mr. Sheen, Mr. Trump. Oh, Mr. Gallagher.
Mr. Sheen.
Oh, Mr. Gallagher.
Yes, I'm here.
Have you heard about our latest president?
Well, what's the news?
He bans every bird and manno that comes back from Capistrano. I believe that he'd abscond with all my rent.
Oh, Mr. Sheen, he's a president who's very low and mean. If you take a second look, you'll conclude that he's a crook.
No compassion, Mr. Gallagher.
He's a tyrant, Mr. Sheen.
Oh, Mr. Gallagher.
Yes, hello.
Mr. Gallagher.
I'm still listening.
Have you heard of Mr. Mueller's new report?
What of Trump?
How he greases Russian wheels and makes very shady deals. I believe that he will end up in the court.
Oh, Mr. Sheen, he will soon go down just like a submarine. The subpoena is all he ducks. They say justice he obstructs.
He's a sly one, Mr. Gallagher.
He's an outlaw, Mr. Sheen.
Oh, Mr. Gallagher.
I am he.
Mr. Gallagher.
Can't you see?
I am really quite a patriot at heart.
Yes, you are.
You see, liberty is not static. It is rich and democratic. There's room for everyone to play a part.
Oh, Mr. Sheen, I'd say I know exactly what you mean. Though I rarely ever brag, I salute and love the flag.
It's America, Mr. Gallagher.
Land of liberty, Mr. Sheen.
Oh, Mr. Gallagher.
Mr. Sheen.
Mr. Gallagher.
I'm right here.
How I love that word. It's called diversity.
A fine word.
We began our country thus. It became our biggest plus. I love to sing our country 'tis of thee.
Oh, Mr. Sheen, I believe you've hit it strictly on the bean. I am Irish, you're a Jew, Mexicans and Muslims too.
Don't forget the ones from Africa.
They are great ones, Mr. Sheen.
Oh, Mr. Gallagher.
Mr. Sheen.
Mr. Gallagher.
Mr. Sheen.
There are other voices singing our old song.
Yes, there are.
I can hear them day and night, making rhymes the way we might. Do you think that anyone will sing along?
Oh, Mr. Sheen, it's the action of the phonograph machine. We are dead and gone to glory. Someone else must tell our story.
They sing proudly, Mr. Gallagher.
We're still living, Mr. Sheen.
They sing proudly, Mr. Gallagher. We're still living, Mr. Sheen. Thank you very much.